Welcome to a team selection video for Game Week 2 and Game Week 1. I mean, probably one of the highest scoring game weeks to open up the season anyway in a very long time, and this is the first time I've actually reached triple digits in Game Week 1, so it's my highest ever score in the opening game week. But I am on holiday at the moment, and I have carried a bit of my kind of setup. I've got like a kind of backup mic that I had in my initial videos, but it's all good. And I'll be aiming to do a deadline stream probably on the Friday in the evening, so let me know what you think down in the comment section below about that. Now I'm going to be reviewing my team for Game Week 1, talk about some of the key talking points, and then discuss my team for Game Week 2 and my plans, as well as the captaincy, which is very, very important, as we saw with some of the big hitters in Game Week 1. But without further ado, let's get into it. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Dylan_RCM, and you can also subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and you won't miss a single upload. Remember to join the league, it's 886RGT, that is the league code. You can also check in the description below, copy and paste that code, or if not, you can just click on the auto join link and you are in the league. But in terms of Game Week 1, 102 points. My overall rank is 253,000 in the world, but it's very early days. And obviously, very good start. I didn't expect over 100 points. Yeah, a lot of people had, a lot of similar players. The template is very strong, and a lot can happen from now all the way until Game Week 38. As for my team, Sanchez in goal, 2 points. I mean, this guy conceded within minutes, and to be honest, Burnley, I think, had 3 big chances from set pieces, so Brighton were really struggling in that department, but they still managed to make a comeback. Unfortunately, though, Sanchez only 2 points. At least, he managed to get 2 points and not 1, I guess. He also actually created an opportunity, which is obviously very rare for a goalkeeper, so you know what, that's something quite different. It just goes to show at the moment, pretty much all of the 4.5 million keepers, apart from Woodman for Newcastle, blanked, so it's not really looking too promising there at the moment. I never really had any kind of confidence with these 4.5 million keepers. Then again, you look at Ederson at 6 million, didn't keep a clean sheet. 5.5 million, Martinez didn't keep a clean sheet. So really it's just Mendy and Alisson who really did the goods this week. As for my defence, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Tsimikas with a clean sheet, and very, very interesting to see Tsimikas on crosses and corners. He created a few opportunities from that, and I think he attempted the most crosses this week of any player. None of them were successful. I think he made 13 attempts in total. However, it's the attacking intent which is there, and Tsimikas, we all know he's an attacking left back, and yeah, I think he can really do the business until Robertson comes back, and he can be even better value than we actually originally foresaw, because it's just looking really promising at the moment. Then you have Trent Alexander-Arnold, 6 points as well, so not too much that really needs to be discussed there. Bit of a quiet game, I guess, in terms of fantasy points, but you would thoroughly expect Trent to start getting some assists within the first 10 game weeks, really. Luke Shaw was the big disappointment of this team. 1 point, he got a yellow card, and he conceded a goal. And as you can see on my bench, Ayling was the one who scored that goal. And what a strike that was, to wipe out that Luke Shaw clean sheet. You can't have it, you can't have everything you want. And I never really was going to play Ayling over Luke Shaw in this game. Shaw is capable of these kind of frustrating scores from time to time, but he can deliver big time and just get these massive hauls. So that's what we're hoping for going into Game Week 2. As for the midfield, Barnes was another disappointment with 3 points. And he was a bit lively in the first half. I think he drifted away as the game wore on, and Wolves were just very, very defensive, not really giving Barnes space and time to run into those channels. So yeah, I think Barnes will have more joy in the coming game week so long as he starts, but that's a very big key question mark, and unfortunately he might not start. So just bear that in mind. However, I'm not going to obviously just already be thinking of getting rid of him. I want to give him a few more game weeks before, starting to kind of come with these conclusions. As for the rest of my midfield, Greenwood scored a goal, got a bonus point. Very happy with him. And for the same price, you could have got Pogba with 4 assists. A lot of people are now looking towards him. Obviously, it's a bit reactionary. However, if Pogba can carry over that form from France into Manchester United, then he's definitely someone worth looking at the very least. However, at 7.5 million, Greenwood is just sensational at the moment, and he's just carrying over that form that he showed towards the end of last season. Then Bruno Fernandes and Salah, the two big FPL magicians, and the ones who, once again, I mean, just points machines, if we're honest. And Bruno was the one who ended up getting a hat-trick, 20 points. I went with Salah, but you can't really be too downtrodden about that. 17 points, 34 as your captain. It doesn't get much better than that, especially to start the season. And he's never blanked in Game Week 1, as I discussed in my team selection video, my last one. And 1 goal, 2 assists. He actually had the highest expected assists of any player with exactly 1. And in terms of expected goal involvements, only Antonio was higher. So Salah's looking really promising, and he's going to be probably the most captain player in Game Week 2 as well. However, Bruno Fernandes does come into the equation. And speaking of him, I mean, what a hat-trick he scored. And the third goal especially, obviously there was kind of doubts about whether he was onside or not, but the finish itself was just emphatic. And yeah, as I pretty much was always discussing, and the reasons why I kept Bruno, despite having some drafts that didn't include him, I just think with the injuries that United have, everything's going to go through him, even the goals. Although I didn't expect him to bag a hat-trick, of course not, otherwise I would have captained him, but that's a different matter in itself. Bruno Fernandes, I'm not so sure if he's going to be as, at least be in and amongst the goals itself. When Sancho comes into the team, when Rashford comes in, I think the goals will be more evenly spread. For the time being, however, Bruno Fernandes could be the main goal scorer for Manchester United. And yeah, he still can create chances. He wasn't really that creative in this game. His expected assist was quite low down for what we expect from him. Yet again, he was the one being on the receiving end of chances, and I think in Game Week 2, there's a big decision to be made. Do you captain Bruno or do you captain Salah? So that's one to definitely look out for. Ivan Toney did blank, and he was obviously my first player, same with many other FPL managers, to start the season pretty much, and he blanked. However, in terms of his actual performance, he had a fantastic game against Arsenal. He was bullying their defenders pretty much, and he was causing all sorts of problems. And for 6.5 million, he's got some very good fixtures coming up, including Crystal Palace. I would actually expect Toney to maybe even bag a significant haul there, so that's definitely worth keeping an eye on. And then speaking of hauls, I mean, just look at Mikel Antonio, 13 points, the highest expected goal involvements of any player, as I stated earlier, and he also had the highest expected goals, so really he should have scored more than 1, to be honest. He missed a penalty, which then counted as an assist, but what a performance, and he was literally just causing all sorts of mayhem for Newcastle United. And Antonio, at 7.5 million, if he can stay fit, he is pretty much the ultimate striker that you can get, so very happy with him. And of course, other assets like Ben Rama are looking very interesting indeed. However, Antonio in particular, I mean, his points don't lie. It's a sensational return. And then Danny Ings with a 96th minute penalty, something like that, to salvage something for himself anyway in terms of points. And Aston Villa, very surprising that they were 3-0 down in the first place to Watford. They did get 2 goals late on, and Danny Ings, of course, scored that penalty when El Ghazi wasn't on the pitch, as we expected. Maybe, though, even when he is on the pitch, El Ghazi, Danny Ings will be on penalties. He took that pretty well, scored the goal, not much more that you can ask for. In terms of the rest of my team, Brownhill didn't start, bit disappointing, and that's why I was considering a late move, and I'm talking very late, to Billy Gilmore. In the end, I stuck with Brownhill. It is what it is. And then Ben White with 1 point. To be honest, looking at pre-season, I'm just not so sure why I went with him. I think it's just looking medium to long term. Arsenal have some very good fixtures going from Game Week 4 onwards, so Ben White and Arsenal can keep some clean sheets there. And 4.5 million for an Arsenal defender on paper is very good value. However, we need to see way more than that, because it's not just the result, it's the way Arsenal lost and the goals they conceded, which were so avoidable and pretty much just caused by themselves. And then Foster, of course, didn't play as we all expected. However, that's pretty much it. That was my team for Game Week 1. Bruno Fernandes was my vice-captain, and I kind of have this thing where whoever I vice-captain tends to outscore my captain. Doesn't always happen, but it happens very often. Now, moving on to Game Week 2, I mean, if I'm being honest, what is the plan? I think the main plan is patience and not making a transfer. So it'd be very easy for me to immediately get rid of Ben White, maybe even Barnes or Toney because they blanked. I just don't think that sort of mentality is the right thing to do, and it's something I've learned over the last year or so. I love to make transfers. I think it's probably the most fun part of FPL. However, you've got to find that balance, and I think the timing of transfers is key, and just avoiding those unnecessary ones. So I think at the moment what I want to do is bank the transfer, have 2 free transfers going into game week 3, and I have a bit more flexibility in terms of what I want to do, and it just places me in good stead. So if an injury happens or something else, I'm well prepared for it. So Sanchez is in goal against Watford. I'm not so confident of a clean sheet looking at how Watford attacked against Aston Villa, and also Brighton. They weren't really filling me with confidence defensively. However, Sanchez is still capable of a clean sheet, and that's what we're hoping for in this fixture. As for the defence, Trent and Tsimikas, I'm much more confident in them keeping a clean sheet, if not salvaging an attacking return. Then again, Burnley can be a threat offensively. However, with the triple Liverpool, I'm very confident in them bringing some returns for me. And also, well, I'll be talking about that with Salah later on with the captaincy. But Burnley are very vulnerable defensively, especially from the flanks. As for Luke Shaw, he did blank in the last game, of course. He does face Southampton, his former club. I'm not so sure what to think of this one. I don't rate Southampton very much at the moment. They're still capable of scoring a goal though. So I'm not so sure if Shaw is going to keep a clean sheet. However, I do expect United to win that quite convincingly and score a few goals, and maybe Luke Shaw is going to be the one providing for the attackers. As for the midfield, Harvey Barnes against West Ham. It's a very difficult game on paper, and both very evenly matched teams. If West Ham do play a high line and it's such an end-to-end game like it was against Newcastle, then maybe Harvey Barnes is going to get some joy there. As I said earlier, is he going to start? That's the big question. If he does, I think he can get an attacking return or two, despite how difficult the fixture is, of course. And then as for the rest of the midfield, very happy with it. Greenwood should continue to start, especially up front. And if Sancho comes into the mix, it just makes things very interesting. But yeah, just really like the look of Greenwood at the moment, and was very unlucky not to get an assist for Pogba as well. So just liking the look of him in general. Goals, assists, he's got a bit of all. And also he can get on the bonus points very easily. And then speaking of bonus points at Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, do you captain him against Southampton? Now, I have to say on paper, Bruno Fernandes is probably the best captaincy shout in terms of the fixture. Southampton, you look at Bruno's record against Southampton, very, very good. I think he's got 2 goals, 3 assists in 3 games, if not the other way around. But it's a very impressive record. And Bruno Fernandes, of course, off the back of a hat-trick. Southampton are very weak defensively. They just lost Vestergaard to Leicester City and Bertrand as well to Leicester City. So they're looking very, very vulnerable at the moment. And I think Bruno Fernandes, with the form he's in, Manchester United, even in pre-season, they were showing a lot of attacking potency. I think they could score 3 or 4 past Southampton. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So him and Greenwood are looking really good for this fixture. Even Pogba could be looking really good. Same with Sancho if he starts. And then Salah at home to Burnley. Now, his record against Burnley isn't particularly impressive. I think he's only scored once against them. However, it's not always about the records against a certain team. He's got the highest expected assists of any player. He looked very lively. I mean, his finish as well against Norwich was sensational. And Burnley, actually, in terms of defensive stats, they were pretty much near the bottom in every single category. For example, shots conceded, shots on target, shots in the box. They were really, really poor against Brighton. So with Salah, he's another one that you could just go for. And it's very risky always to kind of switch captaincy between 2 premiums like this, Bruno Fernandes and Salah, because in any given game week they can haul and they could easily outscore each other. So one week it could be Bruno, the next it can be Salah. It's very hard to get it right every single time. And of course, in game week 1, despite Salah being a very good captaincy shout, he wasn't my high scoring player. It was Bruno Fernandes. And so then switching the captaincy back to Bruno, it could backfire ultimately. However, I expect both of them to haul. Will they get double digits? I think one of them will. It's just kind of guessing which one, and that is down to luck really. You can look at all the stats you want, you can look at the opposition, you can look at their previous records against these respective teams. Ultimately, it's just how they do in the upcoming game week. And then as for the front line, it's actually looking really good. So as I was discussing with Harvey Barnes, the same applies for Antonio. I think if it's an open-ended game, Antonio can cause havoc down the flanks and in central areas. He likes to drift away and then come back into the centre. He could be sensational against Leicester. However, one thing I have noticed with Leicester is that they have improved defensively. You saw it against Wolves, you saw it against Manchester City in the Community Shield. So maybe Leicester will kind of tighten things at the back and not really allow this kind of end-to-end game that West Ham probably want. And then as for the other two strikers, they look really good on paper this week. Danny Ings against Newcastle, who were very, very poor defensively against West Ham. I'm expecting Ings to get quite a few points here. Of course, though, reality can be disappointing sometimes. So, it looks really good. It's all set for Danny Ings to have a haul. It might not happen. However, I'm very confident in Ings doing the business. And if he's on penalties, that just increases his appeal even further. And yeah, I'm just really happy for him to have kind of notched those late points towards the end of the Watford game. And then Ivan Toney against Crystal Palace. I mean, it's kind of difficult to assess Palace under Vieira so far. And, they were coming up against probably, one of the best teams in the league and a title challenger potentially. However, I expect Toney to get maybe a goal or goal involvement, and everything that Brentford do will go through him. Brentford defensively weren't very solid, and Arsenal were just really poor, to be honest. However, Brentford's attack is looking pretty promising, just like they should in the Championship, and I think Ivan Toney will be their top scorer for sure and have the most goal involvement. So it's just a matter of time for him to kind of get on the score sheet and get his Premier League goal tally up. And I think this could be the game where he starts. As for my bench, I've got Foster, Ayling, White, Brownhill. I don't think it really needs too much explanations, to be honest. Ben White is facing Chelsea. I just don't see any chance of a clean sheet. Even if Arsenal win the game, Chelsea, you just expect them to score. I think Ayling, first on my bench against Everton, he's got attacking potential. I think they could even keep a clean sheet against Everton. However, in all likelihood, I don't think they will. And Brownhill's probably not going to even start, with Cork and Goodmanson starting in central midfield. And apparently Brownhill was nursing a little injury. That's something I heard, but I'm not entirely sure about that. So let me know down in the comment section below. And then Foster's just there as my backup keeper. But that's pretty much it. Those are my thoughts on the captaincy. Is it going to be Bruno or Salah? To be honest, I currently have it on Bruno, but literally just days before, I had it on Salah. I just really like Bruno's record against Southampton. I don't rate Southampton defensively or as a whole unit at the moment. And Manchester United just looks so good at the moment. You look at their game against Everton in pre-season and then how they put 5 past leads. They're just looking really hungry for goals. And I think Bruno could be fantastic. But so can Salah. So I might change it before the deadline. And of course, if I'm able to stream on Friday as planned, then you will see my final team there. If not, in the community tab with a YouTube post. So, of course, I'll keep you guys updated. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. Really appreciate all the support in all of these videos. Remember to turn on the notification bell. Share this video around with everyone who loves FPL and football. And also, just in general, why not? And also, as I said before, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's Dylan_RCM. And just have to say, as always, thank you for tuning in. And I'll be planning to make even more videos in the future and might have a little surprise or two here and there. So stay tuned. There's more coming to the channel. And if you haven't, started well, don't worry. It's very early days. And if you have started well, I'd say enjoy it, but don't get too carried away. There's a long way to go for the season. We've literally just started. And yeah, it's just good to be humble anyways. But really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you next time.